Bagong pagsasasigaw ng malaya, kapakanan ng kapwa laging mangunguna. Bida sa salita at bida sa gawa, subok ng matatag, anumang hamong iharap. Radyo Bida 882, laging naglilingkod, walang sawa, walang pagod. Radyo Bida 882, kaibigan totoo, bida ka rito. Kasabay mong nagdiriwang sa tagumpay, kasama mong lumaban sa hamon ng buhay, katuwang sa mapayapang pagkulong tungo sa pagbangon, pag-ulan at pagsulong. Radyo Bida 882, laging naglilingkod, walang sawa, walang pagod. Radyo Bida 882, kaibigan totoo, bida ka rito.
Radyo Bida ng Notre Dame Broadcasting Corporation.
Bida ka rito.
Bida ka rito.
Bangsamoro ngayon, tinig ng kapayapaan. Nagbibigay impormasyon ukol sa usapang pangkapayapaan, kaunlaran, pangangalaga sa kapaligiran, at iba pang mga kaganapan sa Mindanao. Bangsamoro ngayon, tinig ng kapayapaan. Nabugnay sa bawat sektor ng lipunan at tulay ng kapayapaan. Bangsamoro ngayon, tinig ng kapayapaan. Hatid sa inyo ng Kutawato Multimedia Network o Kumunet, samahan ng iba't ibang civil society organizations sa Mindanao. Bangsamoro ngayon, tinig ng kapayapaan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Mapayapang gabi po sa ating lahat. Araw naman po ngayon ng Huwebes. Magandang gabi sa lahat ng tagapakinig ng DXMS Radyo Bida at sa ating programang Bangsamoro ngayon, Tinig ng Kapayapaan. Ngayong gabi po ay ating mapakinggan na yung ating ginawang balitaktakan nung kahapon lamang po dyan sa Imanol, subukan nating pakinggan ang lahat ng ating mga guest speakers, si Attorney Al Julkipli, galing sa GPS panel legal team, kasama si Commissioner Floyden Mendoza na Bangsamoro Transition Commission, si Dong Kusain ng Bangsamoro Transition Commission Communication Group, si Captain Asar Adam galing ng IMT, at si Lieutenant Al Rosal ng tahi ng 6ID Philippine Army. Maya-maya po lamang ay pakinggan natin yung kanilang mga mensahe para sa atin. Yung participant po natin sa baliktaktakan na yan ay umabot po tayo sa 220 participants, from academe, media group, local government unit, mga CSO at saka international NGO, nag-organize po ng balitaktakan na yan ay ang ating walang sawang nagtulong sa atin para mapaabot yung kapayapaan sa Mindanao. Isa po dito yung Forum CFD at ang ating community. Sa punto pong ito, pakinggan natin yung nagawang balitaktakan dyan po sa Imanol.
Bangsamoro ngayon, tinig ng kapayapaan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Muhammad Haidar Mizibang from UNIFIL and BDA. So my first question is, we know that there are many existing political leaders in the Bangsamoro Core Territory who are against the BBL or the CAP or the PAP. So what are your immediate, necessary, or appropriate action concerning this?
Okay.
Number 2 is, what is your guarantee that the BBL or during the plebiscite, the Bangsamoro government will win? We know that there are existing issues that if you give 500, then they will win. Super.
Okay, next. Cesar?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Bapateng of Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Historically, my question is, Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, which has 5 provinces and 2 cities, had already passed through plebiscites. So this is about territorial. Are these part of the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, which has 5 provinces and 2 cities, is still subjected for plebiscites? Because these are all byproduct of the struggle of the Bangsamoro. We started from 1734 and then 1954, expanded autonomy. So this is already the 3rd time we will be submitting for a plebiscite. So do we need to have all this already acquired by the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao to still submit into plebiscites? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And second, from Bapa Kaka Ali.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ali Alto po, Program Director of the QP Radio in OP Maguindanao. My question, as member of the PDP representing the indigenous people, ano pa po ang kulang na kailangan ng mga IP na dapat maisama pa sa PBL na hindi na isama? Dahil naitanong ko ito, for the background lang ng konti, dahil napakarami nagsasabi, marami pa daw kulang. So that is the background, bakit ko naitanong, na ano pa ba ang kulang na dapat mailagay doon sa PBL?
Sige, ako daw po sasagot ng first question. So actually, those are actually 2 questions po, right? The first one is, what do we do or how do we deal with the politicians who are against before the comprehensive agreement and now the draft PBL? Well, we listen to them because, we live in a country where we allow oppositions, and that is part of the vibrant democracy that we are venturing into even for the Bangsamoro. Pakikinggan po natin yung kanilang mga sinasabi. Hindi naman natin sila pwedeng pigilan dahil part po ng kanilang karapatan yan bilang mamamayan ng sambayan ng Pilipinas na mag-express ng kanilang opposition. So, yan po ay ating in-encourage, in fact, para maging mas meaningful yung ating conversation pagdating dito sa nilalaman ng ating batas. Hindi natin sila pipigilan, hindi natin sila paawayin, quote-unquote. In fact, i-encourage natin sila, pakikinggan natin sila. Being politicians, they are actually they actually have the resource, to really generate interest, all right, on their positions with respect to the agreements and also the basic law, and that is welcome. So far as we are concerned, by we I mean we in the supporters side, all right, because we cannot also just close our ears to those who may have further suggestions in terms of refining, because as far as I know, even those who have already expressed some sort of apprehension or reservation with respect to the agreements and the PBL, sila naman ay meron ding position to the effect that they are not altogether rejecting the agreement. Gusto lang daw nila makatulong. So maybe it's actually helpful on our part to also listen to them, invite them in the conversation, talk to them. In fact, the challenge on our part is to convince them, to forego their stand and bring them to our side. So yun po yung response doon, and I am inviting everybody to also consider that kind of stance when we face or we talk to and deal with those that have apprehensions and reservations with respect to this provision. Otherwise, mag-create lang po tayo ng mas maraming divisions, and that will make our struggle even more difficult. So mas magandang mas marami tayong nakakausap kahit medyo hindi tayo nagtutugma in points. Dahil, as long as nag-uusap tayo, that means that we could move forward. Kesa naman that we take yung rejectionist approach then and become hostile to them, lalo lang tayo mag-create ng more complications in that manner. I think personally and also professionally, it would be very beneficial to all parties, to be inviting and to be open to listening to those who have contrary opinions as to ours. Yung pangalawang question naman po, what is the guarantee that the BBL will win? The question was phrased doon sa issue ng maruming election processes, di ba? Kasi alam naman natin yung reality na even with our long history, no, and experience with democratic processes like elections, referenda, and ballot plebiscite, meron naman tayong lahat na experience at nalalaman tungkol sa mga katiwalian, right? That is that reality that we all understand and that we all have experienced at one point or another. So ang challenge po on our part is to ensure na itong mga mag-a-attempt na dumihan yung electoral exercise or yung plebiscito ay hindi magwagi. So along this line, the government is through the Commission on Elections will administer the plebiscite after the passage of the BBL. Actually po, for the information of the public, ang ating COMELEC is very much dedicated and committed to ensure that we will have a credible and honest plebiscite for the approval of the Bangsamoro Basic Law. Simula pa lang po, as early as January this year, our COMELEC has already designated a special subcommittee for the Bangsamoro plebiscite. That's even in advance of the submission of the BBL. So nung time pa lang po ng comprehensive agreement, yung COMELEC has been very proactive sa kanilang preparations for the plebiscite. In fact, doon sa kanilang huling budget proposal, kung narinig niyo sa balita, in-include na nila sa budget nila yung pagkandak ng plebiscite. So yung ating OPA po and the GPH legal team, in coordination also with our counterparts with the MILF, have held meetings with the COMELEC subcommittee on the Bangsamoro plebiscite. Continuing governance meetings po ito monthly. Tapos incrementally, ginagawa na natin unti-unti yung preparations. So, on the part of the COMELEC and the government peace panel, there are continuing efforts to really ensure a credible and honest plebiscite come the voting for the approval of the BBL.
It's not an addition, pero sagutin ko na lang po yung particular question that has been asked to me. Siguro po hindi lingid sa ating kaalaman sa mga konsultasyon. Ito ay parating ipinaparating din ng mga katutubong pamayanan. Bakit daw po wala yung Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act sa basic law? So yun po yung pinaka-fundamental question din ng mga katutubong pamayanan na bakit hindi naisali yung Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act. Pero kung titingnan ko yung aking presentation, doon sa sinasabi ng Section 5 ng Basic Law, may binabanggit po siya dito, lalo na doon sa pagkilala noong kanilang karapatan sa kanilang lupaing ninuno. Sinasabi po niya dito yung the right to the native title and or pusakainit. Mahalaga po yung legal text na native dahil yung ating constitution ay meron na pong legal meaning. Ano po yung ibig sabihin ng native title? At ang kagandahan pa po nito dahil ginamit pa yung local na lingwahe ng mga tao, yung word na pusakainit, which also speaks about the respect, the recognition of the ancestral domain, ancestral lands of the indigenous people in the Bangsamoro. Yung tanong kasi dito, contrary ba yung mga provision ng IPRA sa basic law? Yun yung tanong niya. Maaring yung dalawang laws na yun can go parallel. At kung hindi naman sila inconsistent with each other, bakit hindi? Sa aking pagtingin bilang commissioner at tumitingin din doon sa karapatan ng mga katutubo, yung IPRA ay isang another tool na pwede nating gamitin at idagdag doon sa toolbox na ginagawa natin sa kasalukuyan. Pangalawa, there is no express repeal of IPRA by the basic law. So this is a discourse of how we context legal pluralism in this discourse. Considering na yung basic law is isa lang siyang mga principles, nangangailangan pa rin siya. Kaya hindi nagtatapos sa basic law. Dahil yung BPA later on ay itatayo, yung magiging prototype ministerial in character, which has only given 1 year. So, kulang yung panahon niya para dito, ang dami siyang gagawin. Mas lalo na yung full-blown Bangsamoro Parliament later on, dahil doon pa nila ididetalye yung kinakailang subsequent letter action such as the passage of the law para doon sa operationalization ng lahat ng mga prinsipyo ito na dinalangkas natin sa basic law. So, marami pong gagawin.
Bago sasagutin yung tanong ni Papa Teng, babalikan ko lang muna yung kay brother from Unipad regarding dun sa perception mo na ang mga politicians natin, sir, against the BBL. We in the Commission believe on the contrary. Ma'am Mendoza here can bear me out that all the provincial governors of the ARMN and even congressmen have consistently expressed their support Bangsamoro Basic Law. From February 14 onwards, we have not monitored any official declaration from our respected leaders that they are going against the BBL. I believe the Bangsamoro Basic Law is very clear on the provision that the privileges of the local government units, that means from the barangay upwards, would be undiminished. Hindi na babago kung ano man ang privileges and powers ng mga local government units. I'll take this opportunity to say na mali po yung ikinakalat na it would be MILF political leaders who will automatically place the elected officials. And as for the guarantee that the BBL would win, this is let's describe it as a very important program of no less than the President. We have seen how the President has exerted even going beyond protocol just to let the process continue. Remember when the President met MILF Chairman Hans Morat in Japan when the talks were in a limbo? Those, I think, are manifestations that the present administration is bent on making this PBL a success. After all, both parties believe that the Bangsamoro Basic Law is the real formula for peace and development in our places. As for the question of regarding the plebiscite, I will give it to Attorney to answer.
Okay, sa ilalim po ng ating Bangsamoro Basic Law, the present geographical areas and territories covered by the present are 5 provinces and 2 municipalities will vote again. So dun po sa article on plebiscite, Article 15, nakalagay na kasama sa boboto in the plebiscite yung 5 provinces and 2. Bakit po sila tatanungin ulit? Nanggagaling po ito doon sa ating prinsipyong napag-agrihan nung time pa ng ating negotiation enshrined in our comprehensive agreement that the constitution of the territory for the Bangsamoro most above all will be determined by the consent of the governed. Ibig sabihin, tatanungin kung sino yung gustong sumama. And because of that principle, even the present arm, which as expressed earlier ay bumoto naman na before, tatanungin natin ulit because the primacy again is to give, find the expression of the consent of the governed. So, at saka, importantly, from a more technical and legal perspective, kailangan po natin ulit ng plebisito kasi this basic law effectively abolishes the arm. So, ibig po sabihin yan, one operative effect of the enactment of this law is the abolishment of the autonomous region, in which case, for the specific areas to become part of the new autonomous region or the new Bangsamoro government, kailangan nila pong bumoto ulit. So, yan po yung parang basic reasons why even those areas that have already voted before, yung napakarami ng pong plebiscite, ay boboto pa rin po ulit. So, yun po yun.
Okay, thank you. Those were the first batch. Ngayon, bibigyan naman po natin yung pangalawang batch.
I am Dr. Habib Sharifuddin S. Maulana, a student of Peace and Development of Mindanao State University, at the same time, member of Action for Advancement and Development of Mindanao, or AFADMIN. I was tasked by the Peace group, what if the Congress are not amenable to some of the provisions in the BBL? That's one. Second is on natural resources. Article 13, Economy and Patrimony. We have Section 11 here that states that preferential rights of voluntarily inhabitants of the Bangsamoro. Now, second sentence states existing rights over the exploration, development, and utilization of natural resources shall be respected until the expiration of the corresponding leases, permits, franchises, or concessions unless legally terminated. Now, I am bringing this out with due respect, and I'm questioning the duty of the BBL. In fact, it is almost a perfect law or a perfect bill that may address the long-term aspiration for a genuine autonomy. But this provision may create a problem in the future. I am going to cite the case of current operations of mining in Tawi-Tawi. Now, if we are going to analyze the second sentence of Section 11, this is a problem. Why? Because the Bangsamoro would be preempted to design its own plan, to design its own development programs, because in Section 17, under the same article, Article 13, which talk about Bangsamoro mining policy, the provision states that policies on mining and other extractive industries shall be drawn up by the Bangsamoro Parliament in accordance with its comprehensive sustainable development plan as well as its overall medium-term and long-term Bangsamoro development plan. So gagawa po ang Bangsamoro Parliament ng batas. Ngayon may existing policies. Now we are abolishing the ARMM. So paano po natin i-reconcile? The law, Republic Act 4994, ang sinasabi niya, an act providing for the basic law for the Bangsamoro and abolishing the ARMM, repealing for the purpose Republic Act 1954 and Republic Act 6734. But we are retaining these existing contracts because my understanding, with due respect, hindi po tayo abogado, pero sa simpleng pananaw natin po, this is respecting the existing contracts entered into between the mining companies and the ARMM government. So meaning we are not abolishing the ARMM. We are still retaining certain powers, certain engagement of the ARMM, wherein this is contrary to the aspiration of the Bangsamoro people.
Praise be Jesus and Mary. Good morning, everyone. My question addressed do you have any plans as to the mechanic steps on how to bring into the consciousness of the people, both the Christians and Muslims, including the IPs, especially on the grassroots level, on the basic information of the Bangsamoro basic law, in order to minimize misinterpretation or misunderstanding?
Okay, next. Siyo Kufuan Keluhan Atoman. Ako po si Fernando Bansigan, galing sa Barangay Awang, DOS Maguindanao. Itong tanong ko po, bilang katutubo, napaloob na ba ang aming karapatan tulad ng customary law at tradisyon sa PDL? Ang pangalawa po, freedom of choice. Ano ang mangyari kung nanalo ang no? Yun lang po, maraming salamat.
Gusto pong sagutin yung unang katanungan from Brother Habib. Una yung if Congress would that be amenable to the draft BBL. Clear in the CAB, the Comprehensive Agreement of Bangsamoro, that all agreements would not be implemented unilaterally. Assuming that there would be substantial changes in the draft BBL in Congress, then I think the MILF has to resort to elevating this in the panels. There's mechanisms, and this is actually what happened when the draft BBL was submitted to the Office of the President, and when it was returned to the BTC, yung sinasabi mong case, yung scenario na nasabi mo, would be quite analogous with what happened from the period of July to September. Doon sa natural resources, pertain kasi ito sa contractual obligations ng ARMM, I'll leave it to Attorney Joel Kiblinger to answer it.
Okay, so sagutin ko po yung question regarding the Article 13, Section 11, particularly the second sentence on leases, permits, contracts, franchises with respect to extractive activities. Under our present system of laws, particularly the Constitution, this is a provision of the Bill of Rights of the 1987 Constitution. May tinatawag po tayo dyan non-derogation of contract. So ibig po sabihin, under our system of laws, hindi po pwedeng basta-basta i-derogate ang ating mga contractual obligations under the Bill of Rights. And that is the Constitution already. So ibig po sabihin yan, mataas po siyang antas sa hierarchy of our laws, and it must be respected and protected all the time. So because of the integrity of contract provision of our Bill of Rights, our government, including the future Bangsamoro government, is actually mandated to honor, diba, contractual engagements. Kasama na po dyan yung existing permits and contracts na naibigay na natin, particularly din sa Tawi-Tawi. Legally speaking also, meron tayong tinatawag na operational fact doctrine. Particular po ito doon sa mga acts that have been declared unconstitutional, or kung merong abolition of offices, for instance, as a mandate of a law. So, under the so-called, this is a very technical legal term, when you say operative fact, kapag meron po tayong ina-abolish, it does not mean na lahat ng effects or lahat ng undertakings nung in-abolish natin ay wala na rin significance. Kasi, meron naman po talaga siyang mga nagawa, meron siyang mga kontratang pinirmahan, which should be honored until its logical end, which is the expiration of the contract. Kaya po nalagay dyan yung second sentence of Section 11. That is part of our constitutional mandate to honor obligations and contracts. What if Congress is not amenable? So, may understanding naman po kasi talaga tayo that Congress, as the repository of the plenary legislative powers, has the authority to make the laws. Ganun lang naman po talaga yung trabaho nila. And that includes introducing changes or amendments to a particular proposed bill like the draft Bangsamoro Basic Law. So, hindi naman po natin pwedeng i-expect that at the end of the process in Congress, yung sinamit nating draft proposal would be 100% katulad nung lalabas at the end of the legislative process. We could actually anticipate na baka may mga changes na ilagay dyan. So the question now is, what kind of changes? If it would be minor, then no problem. So katulad ng nabanggit, if it will be substantial changes, meron naman po tayong existing mechanisms to ensure na hindi niya na-derogate yung mga fundamental na nakapaloob doon sa ating comprehensive agreement. What I mean is, if there are certain problems that will give rise to major issues, even at the end of the passage of the law, meron pa tayong mechanisms to ensure that the entire process does not break down. Bago po ibigay kay Ma'am Troy on the IP issue, popularization of the BBL formally in our Bangsamoro Basic Law, on the article that plebiscite, that is Section 9, may nakalagay po dyan on information campaigns. Independent of initiatives from non-government entities and non-government groups like what we are doing now, naka-mandate din po sa batas na magkakaroon ng information campaign for the Bangsamoro in the plebiscite area. So, ibig sabihin po yan, para lang siyang kampanya in a regular electoral exercise, except that ang kinakampanya natin dito is the provision of the law. So, that is really just the law saying that there will be a period and a process to disseminate properly, right, to the ground, the provisions and contents of the law.
Just to add also of what has been raised a while ago on how to popularize yung BBL, especially so with the Christian, Muslim, and Indigenous, malinaw naman po yung EO 120 ng Pangulo nung likhain yung Bangsamoro Transition Commission, at isa nga po doon sa mandato namin ay pagkandak ng consultation para mas lalong maunawaan ito ng mga mamamayan sa loob ng Bangsamoro, mula nung FAB, mula nung mga annexes, at yung kapipirma ng CAB, hanggang yung laman ng basic law ngayon, at hanggang sa ito ay mapinalisa sa Kongreso. Yung Bangsamoro Transition Commission ay umiikip yun dun sa mga komunidad upang mabigyan ng mga information, education, and campaign, at upang mabigyan ng opportunity yung mga tao para maunawaan nila ano ang laman ng basic law. And on that note, sa pagdating ng plebiscite, ay makapag-decide sila kung boboto ba sila ng yes or no. So yun po. Doon sa issue kanina, kung may yung customary law ba at tradition sa BBL, tatlo po yung provision sa BBL na tumutukoy usapin ng customary law. At katunayan po yung Section 24 niya, sinasabi niya dito yung pagtatayuin ng traditional tribal justice system. Na sinasabi niya dito, may itatayo na tribal justice system na siyang responsable doon sa pagtingin kung paano i-preserve at develop yung mga customary justice system ng mga katutubo sa loob ng Bangsamoro. And on that note rin sinasabi na i-ensure na yung full participation ng mga indigenous people doon sa pag-formulate ng implementation and evaluation of the policies related doon sa pag-strengthen ng tribal justice system. At ini-ensure din niya further na this system maintain the indigenous character in accordance with the respective practices of each tribe. So, hindi lang po tribong Tiduray, yung Dulangan ng Manobo ay may particular na customary law din siyang sinusunod at yung iba pang mga tribo. So, ito po. Yung freedom of choice po, yung sinasabi sa basic law, ay tumutukoy doon sa ating identity, yung pag-establish ng Bangsamoro identity. Sinasabi niya po doon sa pinakaibabang provision na kinikilala nito yung freedom of choice ng mga katutubo kung ano ba yung gusto nating tanggihin na bilang tayo o pagkilanlan sa ating bilang katutubo. Meron po yun.
So ano po ang mangyari sa mga permanenteng staff ng ERMN? That includes those sa mga municipalities na hindi na-devolve. Kami ang nagsaserdo sa region. So pag apektado ang ahinsya ng ERMN, lahat pati sa munisipyo apektado. Ano po mangyari sa kanila? They cannot be secured by civil service as mandated by law. Thank you, sir.
Sige po, wala pang buwan sila ng trabaho pag nandiyan yung Bangsamoro. Ano po ba, sir? Sige.
Alright, so under the provision, ang operative effect po ng pag-ratify at pag-pass ng ating DBL will be one, the abolition of the arm, and that includes the offices that are under it. And of course, kasama po ng pag-abolish sa office ay ang pag-abolish sa positions, alright, that are being held by the current armed employees. Kasama po dyan both elective and appointed. But katulad po ng nabanggit, this won't be a wholesale thing, hindi po ito magiging biglaan. Under our provisions, there shall be a gradual phasing out of offices in the arm. Meron po tayong rationalized program na binubuo. Currently, meron tayong transition team na pinangmumunuan ng ating current officials of the regional government. They are now crafting the best possible package, alright, for those affected employees who might, kasi ganito po yan, the abolition of the office, as you said correctly, pwedeng mag-result sa pagkawala ng trabaho. But as I said, I want to emphasize, pwede. Kasi hindi naman po lahat mawawala at hindi na ma-absorb ulit. In other words, the possibilities for the current armed employees are either mag-optional retirement, kung meron, or ma-absorb in the new Bangsamoro government. How the configurations and the details will look like ay i-determine pa po ng isang transition plan na bubuuin. Siyempre, dito sa transition plan na ito, as you said, lahat po ng guarantees under the civil service laws and even yung ating social security laws na dapat ay makuha ng ating mga empleyado ay certainly i-guarantee po yan. So nakalagay naman po dyan, the central government shall provide the necessary funds for the benefits and entitlements of employees of the ARMM. Again, nais ko lang pong klaruhin, hindi po ibig sabihin na ma-abolish yung ARM at i-replace ng Bangsamoro ay totally vacuum, lahat mawawala at bago lahat. Kasi syempre, limitado din naman ang ating human resources. So certainly, a number of the former ARM employees can be and will be absorbed in the future Bangsamoro, but a few of them might choose to go for optional retirement siguro or early. Depende sa package na i-offer, depende sa mga mechanisms and processes na i-determine ng sinasabing transition team working on the transition plan for the disposition of offices and personnel of the Bangsamoro. So kung ang agam-agam po ay security when it comes to the entitlements under civil service laws and social security laws, lahat po yan ay guaranteed under our basic law. It will now eventually become just a matter of qualification later and also the choice of the employees themselves kung anong gusto nilang mangyari after the abolition of the ARM and the ushering in of the new Bangsamoro government.
Sige po, next batch na siguro yung isa.
Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. I am Major Jimmy Matalam, the Personal Officer of the 6th Civil Military Operations Battalion, the 2nd Pansagapinan Division, Philippine Army. Meron po akong gustong itanong regarding dito sa especially the creation of the Bangsamoro Command. So, ang tanong ko lang po dito, sir, is that mayroon namang mechanism itong creation of this Bangsamoro Command, and what is the command relationship of this command to the existing Western Mindanao Command at present? So, yun na po at maraming salamat.
I am Cholar Mahmoud. Ang tanong lang po, sir, ang Bangsamoro government po, sino po ang nasa taas po niya? Anong pa? MILF ba? O MNLF? O PIFF? Ang po kasi, Bangsamoro government, di ba? So, ano po ang nagkakaroon sa Bangsamoro government? Pangalawa po katanungan, yung mga leader po ng, especially the government, politician leader sa government, ano po ang kanilang po sa Bangsamoro government? Under ba sila ng Bangsamoro government? O nasa Malacanang sila? Pangatlo po, ang DIFF po, pati ang ibang faction po, na hindi po sangayon sa Bangsamoro government. Ano po sa Bangsamoro government ang kanilang rule?
Pahirap na yung mga tanong. Balikan ko po yung tanong ni Major Canala. This provision actually came from, is essentially a copy of a similar provision in RA 9054, the current ARMM law. And I think the most important provision, part of this provision is yung word na may. So this is actually, sir, just directory, hindi naman po siya required. So the best way to understand this provision is, number one, defense is central government reserve power. So ibig po sabihin niyan, depende po sa central government kung gusto niyang bumuo ng ganitong type of Bangsamoro Command. Now, if ever, after siguro, kasi it will depend din naman po sa AFP kasi because there's this provision, this actually now gives our military the impetus to perhaps study or determine, according to your own determination, of course, if it's beneficial to have something like this. So this is more a suggestion po on the part of the BBL for our central government, particularly the President and the armed forces, to consider whether or not this is a viable option. Nabanggit ko na rin po na this came from 9054, so meron pong executive order dati na in-issue si former President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo along this line. It talked about a unified Mindanao Command. Opo, if I'm not mistaken. So, that could be the result. Pwede din mag-issue yung ating Commander-in-Chief later ng similar EO, baka instead of just having an East Mincom, West Mincom, baka nga magkaroon ng Bangsamoro Command. But again, solely upon the determination of the central government, this being a central government reserve power. So kung after determination of the AFP, baka nga maganda. So this is really suggestive po, kasi may naman siya. Alright. Who heads the Bangsamoro government? The Bangsamoro government po, napasadahan na to earlier, maybe this is the time to really get into a little detail. Ano ba yung tinatawag nating Bangsamoro government? Yung Bangsamoro government po, binubuo yan ng tinatawag nating parliament or ministerial assembly. Alright? Tapos, mula sa mga members ng parliament, i-elect yung tinatawag na chief minister. Alright? And then the chief minister will choose the members of his cabinet. Yung chief minister and cabinet, yan po yung magpa-perform ng mga executive function, at yung parliament naman yung gagawa ng mga batas or legislative function. Yan po ang prinsipyo na go-govern in a government structure that is built upon the principles of the so-called ministerial government form. Actually, kailangan natin intindihin ano ba ibig sabihin natin pag sinabi natin ministerial. Okay, so I think the best way to understand this is i-compare natin siya dito sa present na ating ginagawa. Ito pong ginagawa natin presently dito sa current arm, yung form of government pong ina-adapt natin ang tawag dyan presidential. Alright? Presidential po siya kasi yung mga tao bumuboto separately para sa mga members ng Regional Legislative Assembly, tapos boboto din siya separately para sa Regional Governor and Vice Governor. Sa ating pong present system, presidential yan kasi the Regional Governor and Vice Governor are elected separately from the members of the Assembly. Tapos, yung Assembly gagawa ng legislative function, si RG and si Vice RG naman ang gagawa ng executive function. Yan po yung ngayon. Pero yung i-adapt natin dito sa BBL, parliamentary system na. Anong nangyayari sa parliamentary system? Tayo pong lahat boboto lamang para sa members ng assembly or ng parliament. Wala na tayong ibang iboboto. So ibig sabihin, inshallah, pag meron na tayong Bangsamoro government, pagpunta natin sa poll sa voting places, ang iboboto natin, mga members lang ng parliament. Alright? Tapos, pag nabuo na yung parliament, under the BBL, 60 sila, 60 meaning 6 na po, 60 members. 50% of the members, so 50% of the 60, 30, so 30 na miyembro ng parliament will be elected through a party list system. Alright? Ano yung party list system? Katulad ng ginagawa natin in the National Congress. Alright? So, boboto tayo ng party, tapos yung party ang pipili kung sino ang uupo sa assembly. 40% naman ng miyembro ng Bangsamoro Parliament ay district representatives. Alright? So, directly elected yan per parliamentary district in the Bangsamoro. Tapos, yung remaining 10%, 6 na seats yun ay tinatawag na mga reserved seats. Alright? Ano ibig sabihin natin by reserved seats? Ibig sabihin, yung 6 na upuan na yon sa Parliament ng Bangsamoro, nakareserba na yon sa mga particular sectors. Ano yung sectors na yan? Non-Moro IT, Christian settlers, women. Alright? So, 3 pa lang ang sinasabi dito sa BBL. Pero, pwede pang magdagdag if ever lumaki ang membership or mag-decide ang Congress natin or the Parliament to enlarge, to add, alright, to the number. But under the current text, 6 po yung reserve. Ibig sabihin ng reserve, hindi na po sila ihahalal katulad ng party list members at saka ng district members. Nakareserva na po para sa mga sectors na yon, yung seats na yon in our parliament. For example, for non-Moro IPs, I think 2. Tama ba? So, 2 seats dyan reserved. Tapos, ang gagawin, yung mga members of that sector, alright, yung mga non-Moro IPs, pwede silang magpulong-pulong, i-adopt nila yung kanilang indigenous processes kung paano ba sila namimili ng leader. Sila na yun ang magno-nominate kung sino ang magte-take ng seat na yon. So, under this current parliamentary system, meron na tayong guaranteed seats, reserved seats for certain sectors, women, Christian settlers, and non-Moro IP. Tapos yung maglalaban-laban na lang talaga in the electoral contest ay yung district representatives and the party list. Alright. So, assuming na nabuo na natin, meron na tayong 6 na pong miyembro ng Bangsamoro Parliament. Pag nag-meet na sila on the first day, magbobotohan sila ngayon. Sino among ourselves ang magiging punong ministro or the chief minister of the Bangsamoro Parliament? So, boboto yung mga members ng Parliament, they will now elect their chief minister. Ang chief minister, obviously, manggagaling sa Parliament mismo. Isa siya sa mga inihalal ng mga tao para umupo sa Bangsamoro Parliament. Once the members of Parliament have decided kung sino ang gusto nilang chief minister, si chief minister ngayon ay bubuo ng sarili niyang gobyerno in the sense na mag-a-appoint siya. Ikaw, magiging minister or secretary of education. Ito naman, bubuo siya ng tinatawag nating cabinet. Yung mag-a-assist sa kanya sa paggawa at sa katuparan ng executive functions. Alright? So, gano'n ang itsura ng isang parliamentary government. Yung ating chief minister and cabinet, alright, sila yung counterpart ng regional governor at saka ng mga secretaries ngayon ng ARM, sila lahat ay manggagaling dapat sa parliament mismo. Hindi sila binoboto separately ng tao katulad ng ginagawa natin ngayon. Alright? Yun yung isa sa key difference. So, ibig sabihin nito, yung ating chief minister, yung counterpart ng regional governor, accountable siya directly to the parliament, and parliament naman is accountable directly to the people. So, doble ang accountability ni chief minister. Ibig sabihin yan, iniiwasan natin na magkaroon ng super powerful na isang chief minister, alright, katulad ng nangyari at na-experience natin with former regional governors na parang sobrang daming influence. Iniiwasan na natin ngayon yan kasi ngayon pwede na siyang i-question directly ng kanyang assembly. Iba pa doon sa accountability naman niya sa mga tao. So, 2 layers of accountability. Yan po yung mangyayari sa isang ministerial or parliamentary government that we are enacting now. So, doon sa pagdidescribe ko ng proseso, malinaw po na yung leadership, quote-unquote, kung sino ang mamumuno sa Bangsamoro, pagdating ng tinatawag na Bangsamoro government, depende po yan sa composition ng tinatawag nating parliament. So, kung ako po yung tatanungin, ang pamumuno ay manggagaling sa assembly, hindi na iisang tao lamang. Ngayon, dahil ito ay assembly, medyo imposible po or next to impossible na maging dominated siya ng iisang partido o iisang grupo lamang. Kasi nga, maraming nagpa-participate, diba? This will be a mix. This is likely going to be a mixed constituency parliament. So, ibig sabihin po niyan, manggagaling sa iba't ibang partido. Alright? So, hindi natin masasabi that for the future Bangsamoro government ay magiging MILF-led din siya. That is assuming that the MILF will become a political party, although that is their plan. Alright? Wala naman pong guarantee that the incoming Bangsamoro government in 2016 or the ones that will succeed it later in the next regular election will be controlled by any particular party. In fact, the beauty of a parliamentary government precisely is maraming dynamics dyan na pwedeng mag-interplay to allow even minority groups to have a say, a definitive say, alright, in the formation of government. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, kahit ikaw ay minority, maaaring meron ka pa rin kapangyarihan and even an opportunity, in fact, to become head of the government. Yan ang isa sa mga bagay na medyo imposibleng mangyari in our current system, but now becomes a possibility under the parliamentary system that we are adopting. So kung siya man po ay manggagaling sa grupo na dominated ng MILF or possibly even the MNLF, hindi natin alam. Magdidepende po yan sa resulta ng election, kung sinong partido ang pinakamaraming membership. Alright? Halimbawa, walang clear majority, magko-coalition yan, and so on and so forth. Marami pong dynamics na hindi pa natin ma-foresee. Ang pinaka-importanting consideration in so far, sino ang mamumuno ay yung levels of accountability. Alright? That at least yung mamumuno sa Bangsamoro, yung Chief Minister and the Cabinet, ay hindi lang directly accountable to the people, but the long layers of accountability to the Assembly and to the people. At pwede siyang mawala anytime kasi may tinatawag na votes of no confidence. Alright? So pagbabasahin natin yung BBL in Article 7, alright, the structure of government, makikita nyo dyan that in the ministerial government we are envisioning for the Bangsamoro, yung assembly natin as a measure of accountability dun sa chief minister and the cabinet, pwede silang mag-vote of no confidence para mawala yung government of the day. Alright? So magbubutuhan sila. Pag nanalo yung vote of no confidence, dissolve ang parliament, elections ulit. Kailangan natin ulit i-determine according to the determination of the votes of the people kung sino ba talaga ang nararapat mamuno sa Bangsamoro. So we are actually ensuring a government that is accountable, alright, dalawang layers of accountability, and also hindi talaga sila pwede ma-entrench. Kasi nga maraming checks and balance mechanism that will ensure na sila talaga ay dapat managot sa mga tao at doon sa kanilang kasamahan sa assembly. Alright. Meron pa pong isang tanong, sorry, I'm taking time. Pero I think mahalagang maintindihan kung ano ba talagang ibig natin sabihin din sa parliamentary system. Now, para po magkaroon tayo ng mas malalim na diskusyon, I think kailangan mag-devote ng isang particular, we might have to reserve a full topic just on understanding how the government really will look like in this parliamentary system. On the part of the Office of the Presidential Advisor in the peace process, yung ating pong communications doon ay nagde-develop na ng mga information and education material, particular on the form of government, para po maintindihan ng mga tao kung ano ba yung parliamentary system na tinatawag at paano siya mag-ooperate. Yun lang muna po.
Bangsamoro ngayon! Tinig ng Kapayapaan!
Isa ka ba Bangsamoro Professional? O kaadon mga pagalin ka Bangsamoro Professionals? Rumigista tano para sa Human Resource Mapping kana Bangsamoro Professionals abang luwa na Bangsamoro Transition Commission. Inya pakaragyan na di ka na ibagang gata asal ka makanggalwak kahanda na Human Resource Mapping. Amalimot siya sa database sa mga Bangsamoro Professionals sa Pilipinas ando abroad asal ka meron sa kadaka ando timbalangan na Bangsamoro Professionals. Bisita no sa www.bangsamoroprofessionals.org kando ka na maka-fill up ka na Bangsamoro Professionals datasheet. Kanudala mo ng internet min, adon ibagay a datasheet no BDA, PLMI, Unipad, MAPAD, no CBCS. Siya ka na pagpanaid sa no.Itsabotano sa Bangsamoro Transition Commission, Human Resource Mapping Implementation Unit, ang GoBTC Socio-Economic Program. Siya sa 3rd floor, Alnor Building, Hinsot Avenue, Cotabato City. Ataw katawag ka no sa 064-552-1436-0935-30-14757. Mamagayas ka no. September 30, 2014, Busumulia Registration. So niya katagani papatsampay sa kanuno Bangsamoro Transition Commission Socio-Economic Program.
Alam mo ba pare, napapansin ko na unti-unti nang bumabalik ang kapayapaan dito sa ating lugar.
Oo, Mare. Simula nang natirmahan ang CAP sa pagitan ng gobyerno at ng MILF.
Ha? CAB? Ano nga ba itong CAB, pare?
Ito ang Comprehensive Agreement on the Bangsamoro, isang kasunduang pangkapayapaan na nilagdaan sa Malacanang noong nakaraang March 27. Napapaloob sa CAB na ito ang mga napagkasunduan mula sa Framework Agreement on the Bangsamoro or FAB at ang mga naging annexes nito tulad ng Transitional Arrangement and Modalities, Revenue Generation and Wealth Sharing, Power Sharing at Normalization.
Naku, pare, dapat nga natin ipagdiwang dahil napirmahan na nga ito. Dahil napakalaking kaginhawaan ito dito sa ating lugar at higit sa lahat, manunumbalik na ang kaunlaran ng ating lugar.
Upang higit na maunawaan ang usapin ng Comprehensive Agreement on the Bangsamoro, ugaling dumalo sa mga pagtitipon na may kinalaman sa usaping ito. O di kaya ay manatiling makinig sa programang Bangsamoro Ngayon, Tinig ng Kapayapaan sa DXMS Radyo Bida, tuwing Huwebes 7:30 hanggang 8:30 ng gabi.
Bangsamoro Ngayon! Tinig ng Kapayapaan!
Kasamang napakinggan natin yung mga mensahe kahapon ng ating mga speakers. Malamang sa ngayon sa marami ng mga ilang series na ng mga forum siguro marami pa ring mga katanungan andyan sa ating mga kasamahan lalong-lalo na sa mga remote areas Kung matandaan mo kasamang Pla, yung tanong kanina, magandang tanong yun, Sabi nga dun sa mga kasama natin dun sa forum, sabi nila, is the BBL answered the question for genuine autonomy, sa tingin mo kaya kung ikaw yung tatanungin natin dito, ano kaya sa tingin mo? Nabasan mo naman yung BBL, di ba? Ano kaya sa tingin natin? Ito bang BBL ay answer na dun sa question ng genuine autonomy?
Siguro kung ako naman tatanungin kasamang Derek, so, posible naman siguro maging genuine na sagot ito. Genuine na sagot sa ating gobyerno na kesa sa nakarang gobyerno ng ARM. So, siguro tingin ko mas mahihigitan ito ng BBL dahil dumaan ito sa maraming tao na isa na yung mga consultation natin sa mga areas, maraming consultation yung ginawa at isa sa reason kung bakit ko nasasabing posible itong maging genuine na sagot yung BBL dahil maraming magagaling magagaling na mga taong nag-drop nito o gumawa kung saan sisiguraduhin na nang magiging maayos to. Oo nga,
nagbuhis sila ng kanilang panahon, pati sariling buhay nila ay ginugol na dito sa agreement na ito. Kaya masabi natin na sana ang BBL ay magiging answer na dun sa tanong na genuine autonomy. Pero kung sa pagbalangkas, itong maganda sa ngayon na kasamang plan, kasi binabalangkas pa sa Kongreso. Sana kung meron pa tayong mga nakita o yung mga kongresista natin ay may nakita pa na hindi man ito genuine autonomy. Diba? At kung ako yung kongresista na may pagtingin, diba? Kung tayo yung may pagtingin sa Bangsamoro at sinasabi natin na ito na yung sagot para magkaroon tayo ng peace and development, kung ako yung kongresista kasamang Play, titingnan ko ng maigi. Tama na ba ito o dagdagan pa natin? Huwag na lang sana kulangan.
Tama yun. Yun ang magandang suggestion na kasamang Derek, Kung meron mang hindi nila nagustuhan or meron mang kulang, dagdagan. Na kung saan, yun yung makakabuti at mapapalakas yung BBL. Diba?
Kasi nga palagi nilang sinasabi na ito na yung sagot doon sa matagal na nating hinahanap dito sa Mindanao na makulang-kulangan na yung kaguluhan. At saka marami nang naghihirap dahil sa gera, dahil sa hindi lang gera kasamang Plang nandito sa atin, marami pang mga natural calamities na nangyari. Dagdagan pa natin.
Huwag na natin dagdagan ng man-made calamity. Hindi lang kasi ang Mindanao ang apektado dito. Apektado ang buong Pilipinas sa mga nangyayari sa buong Mindanao.
Kasi kung titingnan natin yung economic situation natin sa Pilipinas, 'di ba, nung mga nakaraang administration, kung i-google mo sa gira yung pera ng Pilipinas, wala ka nang ipupundo doon sa economic mo,
babagsak talaga.
Oo, kaya nga sana, no. Pero kung titingnan natin, no, kung ang maganda kasi dito sa tanong na ito kasamang Pla ay tinitingnan yung content mismo, no. Content mismo ng BBL, nung Bangsamoro Basic Law ay tama na ba, no? Tama na ba itong napaloob dito or dahil bunga ito ng para bang ano yan, kasi pag negotiation kasamang Pla, ano yan ano yung ibibigay mo at ano yung pwede kong i-withdraw. Ganun yun para bang nasa palengke ka. Kung ang tindera ay nagbenta sa iyo ng mataas, sa tingin mo pera mo ay hindi kaya, tatawad ka. Ganun yun sa negosasyon. Di ba? Kaya nga dapat sana sa palitan nila ng mga opinyon at magandang mga mungkahi na ito yung tinatawag natin na magiging susi, no? Para magkaroon ng peace and development dito sa Mindanao. Sana ay gandahan pa natin. So panawagan natin sa mga taong bayan, lalong-lalo sa mga kongresista natin, na kung may nakita kayong siguro may nakita silang kakulangan dito, dapat idagdag na sa ngayon pa lamang.
Oo, tama. Kaya nga ako, suggestion ko sa mga tagapakinig natin at sa mga iba't ibang lugar dito sa Mindanao na nakikinig or hindi pa alam kung ano yung laman ng BBL, iniimbitahan namin kayo na basahin natin yung BBL. Baka meron kayong makita na gusto or meron kayong mapansin na gusto nyo pang idagdag na wala pa. Or kung gusto nyo malaman or hindi nyo pa naiintindihan, makialam tayo kasama ang Derek, no? Tama, no, mag-attend po tayo ng mga consultation, so para maintindihan natin kung anong laman ng kagaya ng ginawa natin kahapon, inorganize ng Comunet na kung saan meron tayong mahigit sobra 200 yung participants na nakinig about the BBL. Tama 'yun, no? Kaya nga mayroong kinakandak yung IAG at CAS, no, kasamang Pla patungkol dito sa understanding the Bangsamoro Basic Law. Mayroong talk series ginawa yung IAG at saka CAS, nagsimula kanina, no? Kanina. Pinag-usapan doon yung laman ng BBL, din yung ang second series nito kasamang Pla ay ngayong October 1. Abangan natin yan, Brad. Dapat abangan. Ano bang date yung October 1 na yan? October 1, ngayong Wednesday, sunod na Wednesday. Wednesday po. Wednesday. So, makinig tayo, punta tayo. Tama, kasi makialam, di ba? Makialam tayo. Makibahagi din tayo. Kung mayroon tayong mga suhesyon dyan na gustong ibahagi ay mga katanungan na dapat linawin patungkol sa BBL ay ngayon na po yung tamang panahon. Tama. So, ang oras natin sa Bangsamoro ngayon kasamang Pla ay ganap ng alas 8:28. 2 minuto na lang natira sa atin, ano? Kulang yung ang bilis ng panahon. Ang bilis ng oras. Kulang yung sa discussion natin, Sige. So, ayan, no? Okay. Ayun, sige. Sige, sa ngalan po ng iba't ibang organisasyon ng bumubuo ng Comunet. Yung Bangsamoro for Justice and Peace, Consortium of Bangsamoro Civil Society, Katuntaya Foundation Incorporated, Moro Women and Development and Cultural Center, United Youth of the Philippines Women, United Youth for Peace and Development, IWATS, Mindanao People's Peace Movement, Regional Reconciliation and Unification Commission, at ng Mindanao Action for Peace and Development, at sa mga suporta ng GIZ at ng Forum CFD. Ang nakaagapay po natin sa technical side, si Ginoong Jonathan Estorbo. Ako po si Derek Sanico. At ako naman po si Yusop Makabot. Ito po ang Bangsamoro ngayon, Tinig ng Kapayapaan. Samahan niyo po kami sa susunod na Huwebes. Dito na ba tayo? Magtatapos na, magpapaalam na tayo, no? So, samahan niyo po kami sa susunod na Huwebes, dito pa rin sa DXMS Radio Bida. Mapya magabi sa Kanulangon, maayong gabi, Pio Kolongon, magandang gabi sa inyong lahat.
Inyong napakinggan ang programang Bangsamoro ngayon, Tinig ng Kapayapaan. Nagbibigay impormasyon ukol sa usapang pangkapayapaan, kaunlaran, pangangalaga sa kalikasan at iba pang kaganapan sa Mindanao. Bangsamoro ngayon, Tinig ng Kapayapaan. hanggang sa susunod na Huwebes, alas 7 hanggang alas 7:30 ng gabi. Dito lang sa DXMS Radyo Bida 882 sa inyong mga pihitan.